Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Sponsored by Big Bully Turf.
What's up, baseball fans? This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Mike Davis here with Kevin Bollinger. Kevin, tell us what's on deck.
All right, another big show on tap today. Here is the batting order for today's show. Jacob Wilson sets an errorless record, and the A's and GM David Force part ways. Then later, Johnny Dasco shares his thoughts on the state of the A's. Plus, an A's first-round pick continues his hot start, and I go one-on-one with Tommy White. But first, we go to the milestone set by the shortstop.
Shot to Jacob Wilson, backhands it, gets up and makes the throw. And that's why he has 110 games without an error.
And that backhanded stop right there would make it 111 games, setting the major league record for most consecutive games played at shortstop without recording an error.
Wilson passes Mike Bordick, who had the previous record of 110 games back in 2002 with the Baltimore Orioles.
And Wilson continues to build upon that record, hitting 113 consecutive games.
Now on Tuesday night, it looked like the streak would come to an end. Wilson fielded a ball up the middle. He tossed a wide throw to try and get the runner at second. The play originally was scored an error on the throw, but after the game, the official score announced upon review that the error was overturned to a fielder's choice, so the streak is safe at 113 games. Here's manager Mark Kotze on that decision.
I think the official scores have gotten it right now. I think they're going to rule it a fielder's choice, which I think is the correct ruling. So, you wouldn't want to see a play that was marginal, by any measure, dictate a streak like this. And I think that the overturn was the right decision by the scorer.
A major achievement for the young shortstop. Now, as of taping, the record is still alive, and I know the game has changed, less, ground balls, more pop-ups, Kevin, but how big of a deal is this?
Yeah, it's a big deal, especially for a team that's had some pitching struggles like the A's have. You can't give outs away, and if you have someone like Jacob Wilson who consistently makes routine plays and then adds in some spectacular ones as well, that's going to pay dividends in the long run. In that position, the defensive play is as important as the offensive production because they are involved in so much on the field. And Wilson has solidified himself as the shortstop of the future with the Athletics, so much so that the A's have slid prospect Leo DeVries from short to third in the minor leagues to find a spot for him at the big league level when the time comes.
Yes, says a lot about his play. Now let's shift to the drama in the A's front office. Last week, the A's and GM David Force parted ways. After nearly 3 decades with the team, 11 seasons as GM, the team moved on, naming assistant general manager Dan Feinstein as interim GM. Here was the statement from the team owner, John Fisher. Quote, David has been an integral part of the A's and our success for nearly 3 decades. His leadership, dedication, and commitment to this team have helped shape our baseball operations department and position us for the future. We are grateful for everything David has done for our organization, end quote. And here's A's manager Mark Kotze on that.
For me, he gave me this opportunity to manage this club. We've faced our certain circumstances, challenges together. That's what's tough about it, not being able to see it through with him. So it's a tough day. Yeah, it's a tough day.
So, Kevin, to me, this was a really puzzling move. What was your initial reaction to the parting of the ways?
Well, the timing was certainly interesting, coming late in the season, but at the same time, with a potential work stoppage that's looming in Major League Baseball, the A's knew if they wanted to make a move, perhaps, that they needed to work to get their new GM in place for an offseason that's going to have a lot of question marks around baseball. Forrest has been with the organization, as you said, for a long time. He's had a lot of success over the years in leading the charge for drafting and developing players. Sometimes, though, it's wanting to get a fresh take on things, and until the A's come out with the exact reasoning for the move, it's really all speculation, but it is going to be a new look as we move towards Las Vegas in 2028.
Yeah, all right, so now to some news on the Big Amish.
One more milestone to share, though, before we get to the Big Amish, because we have to talk about Nick Kurtz here, who has continued to have that thumb injury that suffered on this play, and it's been kind of off and on as to whether he's going to play or not. But Kurtz is now had a shot for that. He's been put in a brace. He's going to be in that brace for 4 weeks. And so if you do the timing on that, as Mark Kotze said, at the end of that 4 weeks before he can ramp up to baseball activities, more than likely Kurtz has played his last game of the season for the A's, and they'll kind of start fresh in spring training.
Wow, okay, that's going to be a big missing piece for this team. And another milestone and congratulations to share with the veteran second baseman Jeff McNeil, who recorded his 1,000th career hit on Sunday. It's a great feat for the 34-year-old who's in his 9th MLB season. Now, a couple other things to note before we go to break. Gage Jump, he reached a career-high 11 strikeouts in the Saturday win over the Red Sox. Jump becoming the first A's lefty since 1928 to strike out 11 at Fenway, and the first with double-digit Ks at the ballpark since Vida Blue in 1974.
And Zach Geloff, a nice welcome back from his injury and his rehab stint in Las Vegas with the Aviators. On Tuesday with the A's, he made the return from that injury at the big league level. He crushed a 456-foot home run. That's the 12th of the season for him, but the longest of his career.
Yeah, it was a great shot right there. Okay, guys, on deck is one of my favorite dudes. He's joining the show, Johnny Dasco. A's broadcaster is going to share his thoughts on the big move at the general manager position. And Mariah Janos takes us on a trip to the farm, a closer look at what's happening in the A's farm system. That's when Covering the Bases with the A's returns.
And before we head to break, some trivia. On this day in 1933, A's legend Jimmy Fox hit for the cycle. He was the third athletic actually to do that in the span of just 2 weeks. Jimmy also won the Triple Crown that year, along with his second straight MVP award. That followed one of his teammates winning their first ever American League MVP, the first ever. But which of these future Hall of Famers was it? Was it Lefty Grove, Mickey Cochran, Al Simmons, or Waite Hoyt? Find out after the break.
Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Sponsored by Big Bully Turf.
We're back and we're answering the question, which athletic won the first ever American League MVP award? The answer is Lefty Grove. In 1931, Grove posted the best ERA of his career, 2.06, and he won the pitching Triple Crown for the second straight year, meaning he also led the league in wins and strikeouts. He also did this kind of thing pretty much every year. It's why he's considered by some to be the greatest pitcher of all time, regardless of team.
All right, we're joined right now by one of our favorites, Johnny Dasco, A's broadcaster. Johnny, good to see you. Let's start with some of the unfortunate news. David Forst and the A's parting ways, a guy who's been there for 27 years, been a part of the Moneyball era, was an assistant GM for 12 years, now a GM for 11. What was your read on the situation there?
Well, look, I go back with David 2001 when I was broadcasting with the River Cats in AAA, and it's just such a great human. He did such a great job through the years with the A's. He's kind of a legend in the business, and it's tough to hear the news. At the same time, for David, I'm sure he will land on his feet. He is a very bright guy. As I said, quality human. But, look, I go back with him such a long ways, and he was so good to me through the years. I wish him obviously nothing but the best, but, the A's thought it was time for a new era, and Feinstein's going to be the interim general manager right now. So, yeah, it was, you hear the news. It's a little shocking after he's been there almost 3 decades, but it's part of this business sometimes. It's the tough part of this business. But I promise you this, I don't think you've heard the last from David Forst. I think he's going to land somewhere and be a great contributor to whatever he does.
Yeah, great baseball mind, a guy who played at Harvard and, really did a great job drafting, developing talent. But, of course, this is a team right now stricken with so many injuries. But let's focus on the positive. Jacob Wilson. I mean, we all saw what this kid could do last season as a rookie, but now playing shortstop, setting a new record for the most consecutive games, 111 without an error, a new MLB record. Tell us, we spoke so much last season about Jacob Wilson and his plate discipline and the way he can hit, but let's talk about his fielding and this momentous record.
Yeah, I talked to him about it yesterday. I had him on the pregame show, which will air today. And I said, were there times, when you got to the big leagues that you had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder as far as your defense? Everybody talks about your bat to ball, so great at going the other way, prolific hitter, great bat to ball guy, and 300 hitter probably throughout his whole career. Did that kind of motivate you? He said, absolutely. He goes, people weren't talking about my defense. I knew I could play defense. He has a very underrated arm. To think about going 111, 112 straight games without making an error at shortstop, right? And no, certainly didn't have the amount of chances that Mike Bordick had, but it's a different time. More strikeouts, more balls hit in the air. So it's just a different time for infielders as far as ground balls, but still, not just one flip over to the third baseman that hits the runner and goes out for an error, not a bad throw to Kurtz that gets away. It's just, if you think about it, it's unfathomable to grasp the fact that he went that many consecutive games without an error as a shortstop. People, I think, kind of take that for granted a little bit. And look, he's been tremendous. I think he's been underrated the whole time as a shortstop. People gave him a hard time about that second step. He's improved on that. I marvel at that record, and I think it needs more attention nationally than it's getting, because to think about going that long without making an error, and he just goes about his business. He doesn't even think about it. I asked him. He said, "I just do my job. I don't think about how many consecutive games I've gone without making an error." He's tremendous and fun to watch on a daily basis too. And also, he's made some great plays too, great plays to his right, to his left, off balance throw, the Jeter leap throw he's made, right? So he's been a highlight reel at times as well, but so consistent. And when the ball's hit to him, he's going to make the play. It's pretty fun.
Johnny Dasco, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, always great to be with you. Thank you.
The Athletics may have found their next fast-rising star, because Drew Burress is wasting absolutely no time introducing himself to the world of pro baseball. The A's took the Georgia Tech outfielder 8th overall in the 2026 MLB draft, and after signing for $7.5 million, Burress was sent to Single-A Stockton.
It's definitely a relief to be able to just sit back and say that I'm a professional baseball player and get to wake up and only have to worry about playing baseball every day now instead of the draft and performing for whatever other reason.
Apparently, he decided the adjustment period was optional. All 3 hits in his first 5 games have been home runs. Forget just trying to make contact. Burress said, "I'll do you one better and take 3 trips around the bases."
2-0 is swing, and that ball is crushed high and deep out to left. Tejada will turn, and he will watch it go.
The power shouldn't come as a total surprise. Burress left Georgia Tech as the program's all-time home run leader with 60 bombs in just 3 seasons. One of the biggest transitions from college to pro for hitters is the wooden bat. There's always questions entering the draft about whether that pop would translate. So far, question answered. Considering the A's recently watched first-rounders Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz fly through the minor leagues and become big league impact players, Burress is certainly giving fans another prospect to keep an eye on. And Aviators fans, don't forget you can catch select games right here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
All right, they call him Tommy Tanks. After the break, Kevin is going one-on-one with the stud who made a name for himself at LSU.
Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Sponsored by Big Bully Turf.
If you put together an all-time athletics team, who would you have closing out games? Raleigh Fingers or Dennis Eckersley? I didn't make that call today. Instead, I have these 2 Hall of Fame closers right next to each other on this week's edition of Green and Gold Countdown. When fresh-faced Roland Fingers came to the A's in the late 60s, nobody could have guessed that he'd turn into a mustachioed menace who'd close out some of the most important games in franchise history. Raleigh, as he was later called, represented a new kind of relief pitcher at the time. He was the first true closer in baseball, and he could go multiple innings. Fingers consistently got it done in the regular season, but it was the playoffs where he really shined. In 3 World Series with the A's, Fingers sported an incredible 1.35 ERA, with half of the A's 12 wins in those series ending in a Raleigh Fingers save. Nobody had more direct influence on the A's winning the 1972, 1973, and 1974 World Series then Fingers, who went on to have further success later on with other teams. While Fingers did all these relief heroics for the A's in his 20s, Dennis Eckersley had a much different path. He spent his 20s as a starter for other teams. He threw a no-hitter actually with Cleveland back in the 70s, but by the time he came to the A's at 32 years old in 1987, the team thought he'd be better off in the bullpen. And what a move that turned out to be. Eck, as he was called, was lights out with the A's, putting up insane numbers. In his first 5 years as the team's full-time closer, he put up a disgusting 1.90 ERA and averaged 44 saves per season. He won a Cy Young and MVP award in '92, but that wasn't even his best season. In 1990, Eckersley saved 48 games and walked 4 batters while allowing only 5 earned runs in a season. Good for a .61 ERA. Geez, Eck, calm down, would you? And of course, Eckersley was key in the A's World Series win in '89, saving 4 games in the playoffs that year and allowing just 1 run, helping the A's lift the trophy for the 9th time in franchise history. The next 2 weeks on Green and Gold Countdown, we're going to be talking about 2 pairs of lefties. One is a pair of hitters, the other pitchers. All 4 players are in the Hall of Fame, and you'll have to wait until next week to see which duo is featured first.
The A's have had 6 players make their major league debut this season. One of them is Tommy White, who has hit his way in making the jump to the show and showing no signs of making an exit.
Make that a 4-hit game for Tommy White, and this is impressive.
Tommy White has powered his way to the big leagues in a hurry. Las Vegas fans got an early glimpse of what White can do when he hit this bomb during spring training at Big League Weekend. But he started the season in Double-A Midland and proceeded to hit .301 in 21 games to earn a call-up to the Aviators.
And White hits it. There she goes, way back to left center and gone.
Where he hit .303 and collected 47 RBI in just 55 games before the A's pulled him up to the show. White says he never thought of getting fast-tracked. He just put his head down and did the job.
Nobody really expects the call or anything. It's just, you play the games that are in front of you and the next pitch. So that's all I was thinking about was the next pitch. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was very unexpected, but happy that happened.
Now Lee on the ground, diving, stopped by White. Spins, throws to first, a high throw, but McNeil is able to jump up and get to the bag quick enough.
The call came during the All-Star break. White was home with his family in Florida when Aviators manager Fran Reardon popped up on his cell phone and told him that he was starting the second half in Sacramento.
It was awesome. I got to spend the whole day with my family. I got to tell them in person, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they were super happy, and it was just a good day all around.
Family, friends, and even his college coach from LSU flew to California for his first big league game, and they saw White get his first big league hit.
1-2, line drive to left center field. That's going to drop down. Young to cut it off. White's going to stretch it. Sliding in safely. His first big league hit is a double in the bottom of the 8th.
It was pretty special. I mean, having my parents out here, a couple buddies, it was really cool that they got to experience that too. I mean, it's what you dream of.
Since then, White has put up some multi-hit games while playing both first and third base for the A's. He fits the organization mold, someone with high-end offensive skills who can play multiple positions. That's a recipe that will keep Tommy Tanks loaded and ready for bear to stay in the big leagues for good.
All right, great stuff there, Kev. Now the A's, they need to find a way to get back on track. A 3-game series against the Rangers comes home to West Sacramento. Up next, Kevin will share his keys to the series.
Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Sponsored by Big Bully Turf.
This is a great day for Las Vegas.
Las Vegas has proven itself to be a great sports town and a great host to professional franchises.
It's an epic moment for our 124-year-old franchise. 2028, we have opening day out here on the Las Vegas Strip. 3, 2, 1.
Get priority access to purchase A's season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01. Current season ticket members, Aviator season ticket holders, as well as Clark County residents who secure their spot on the priority access list will receive purchase priority ahead of the general fan. You can get more information by visiting athletics.com/Vegas.
Okay, so after wrapping up things against the Rays, the team with the best record in the American League, the A's shift their focus to the Texas Rangers.
And it's a good opportunity to try and get things back on track at home out in West Sacramento.
Yeah, 3-game weekend series. As of taping, the Rangers sit at 500 right now on the year. Heading to the mound for the A's will be Gage Jump, JT Ginn, and Jacob Lopez. So, Kevin, the A's are 2-8 in their last 10 games, not doing so well. They're getting close to dropping into last place of the AL West. What can this team do to get back on track and take down the Rangers?
Well, this is a team that desperately just needs some good mojo, and a series win would certainly help. Because of all the injuries, this lineup has been all over the place with guys at different positions and in different spots in the batting order. So this is a time for evaluation and looking for who's going to be a key part of this team moving forward as they build to Las Vegas in 2028. So for the young guys and some of the veterans, it's time to show up and show out. With a solid young core group, the A's believe they aren't as far away as people think, but the pieces to complete that puzzle are critical. These last 6 weeks, a chance for players to make management decisions easier by showing that they can contribute.
All right, well said, Kevin. That's a wrap on this edition of Covering the Bases with the A's. For Kevin, I'm Mike Davis and the rest of the team here. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you next time. Until then, enjoy your baseball.